besties, today we're gonna go through all of the books that I am super duper looking forward to that are releasing August through October. It's almost spooky season, friends! Mentally, I am in spooky season, like really and truly. It's not August in my brain, it's October. And then September is going to be October take 2, and October is going to be October take 3. Mentally, that's where I'm at. I cannot stinking wait for things Hollow Miss. My season, my favorite season of the whole year, cannot stinking wait. Let's talk about the books that are coming out. Some of these book releases for August I have mentioned, so I'll kind of slide through those pretty quickly. We have the sequel book coming out for Zara, or the second book in the Guardians of the Dawn series. This is by S.J. Jones. These books are very reminiscent of Sailor Moon. Also, have y'all heard that there is a new Sailor Moon movie coming out? It's called Sailor Moon Cosmos and it comes out August 22nd, like literally what is happening. But anyways, if you love Sailor Moon, they find out through different ways, through different means, that they have powers, and fate just guides them to the Guardians of the Dawn who are fighting against evil. There's a mysterious plague that starts transforming magicians into monsters. So people who do have magic are getting transformed into these really crazy monsters, and it's pitched as, at least with Zara, she must find the elemental warrior within before the balance between order and chaos is lost forever. And if that tagline doesn't pull you in, I don't know what will. So the second book is called Ami. We get to follow a new main character. I believe this series has 4 books planned. I believe it's 4, and each of these books we will follow a new elemental warrior, which is going to be so fun. So Ami is coming out. These also have beautiful covers. And this one's already out when I am posting this video, so if you want to get your hands on it, she's out there for you. Second one is the sequel to Bonesmith by Nikki Powell-Preto. I read this book last year. It is so atmospheric and good for spooky season because there is like death magic in this book, in this series, in this world. We follow our main character. She is a bonesmith named Ren. In this society, people like train to be, it's almost like guilds. They train to be in different guilds. Ren's job is very important, and the bonesmiths are very important because in this world, there is this whole section that has been walled off because the dead come back to life. There's different levels of dead. There's like remnants that are super strong. There's ghosts, there's wraiths, like all these different types of undead creatures, and the bonesmith's job is to control them so that they're not impacting the living folk of this society. Ren basically fails her qualifying test to become a true bonesmith. She's exiled to this fortress that defends the wall that's barring their living world from the world of the undead. She's determined to reclaim her family's respect. She gets her chance when a House of Gold prince is kidnapped, taken beyond the wall. She vows to cross the breach and rescue the prince, but she is forced into an uneasy alliance with one of the kidnappers, a fierce ironsmith called Julian. This book left off on a massive cliffhanger that I cannot wait to read the not only sequel book, but the finale to this duology. Next up, we have Lady Macbeth. Now, I'm going to keep this book on this list because I haven't read it yet. I haven't experienced it for myself, but this is written by Ava Reid. I loved Ava Reid's A Study in Drowning, which was its own YA fantasy standalone. I guess I'm like, August is for the YA fantasies. Lady Macbeth is another standalone YA, kind of like gothic type fantasy. But Ava Reid is putting very much her own twist on the Lady Macbeth story and character, and that either rubs people the wrong way or it rubs them the right way. That is a much more sexual comment than I initially thought it was going to be. But anyways, Lady Macbeth in this retelling, reimagining if you will, she is planned to be wed to this Scottish brute. His court is very hostile, very suspicious of her. She's married to kind of forge an alliance. She's a French lady, I believe, of like well-off family, well-off upbringing, all of that. So she's using all of her wiles, she's using all of her witchcraft and witchy ways to survive this scenario with the suspicious court that doesn't fully trust her. But little does she know her husband, her new husband, also dabbles in some occult crazy things. It's pitched as historical fiction retelling gothic It doesn't say YA actually, it says adult, which is intriguing. And the last book that I have for August, it's already out already. It came out on August 6th, I believe. T. Kingfisher is flexing on us with a new book, and this one is called A Sorceress Comes to Call. This is a retelling of the Brothers Grimm Goose Girl, which I'm also entirely unfamiliar with, but that is what Goodreads told us, so that is what I'm reiterating here. We have our main character Cordelia, who lives in a very odd situation. Her mother is a sorceress, but her mother doesn't allow her to have any friends. She's extremely isolated. Her only friend is her white horse, her white steed. Her mother forces her to remain silent and still, like sit in one place for hours on end, if not days sometimes. And the only time Cordelia feels free and feels like relatively okay, because it sounds like a horrible situation, is when she has the chance to ride on her horse. When in their village, I believe, there is a crazy murder, her mother forces her to leave in the middle of the night. They ride away on Falada's sturdy back, that's her horse. They arrive at a remote country manor of the wealthy older man, the squire, and his unwed sister, Hester. Hester sees this whole situation and she's like, this is weird. I not only need to save my brother from falling for this crazy sorceress's wiles, like she is not marrying my brother, I also need to save this girl, Cordelia, because she sees right through it. She sees that this girl is not in a good way, not in a good situation. And so Hester, it seems like, is our hero in the story. This one is marketed as a fantasy slash horror. It's a retelling. It obviously has witches. It also says science fiction fantasy. I have no idea how science fiction is coming into play here. Goodreads just might be off its rocker, but it sounds intriguing. Next up is Immortal Dark. I think I'm most excited for this book for September. Of all these releases, this is like my top tier. It's supposed to come out on September 3rd. The tagline of this, that like I truly didn't need to read anything past this, it says Cruel Prince meets Ninth House. If you have been on this channel, you know that Cruel Prince is what started my reading journey, one of the series that started my reading journey with fantasy romance. I think about it to this day. Like, Jude and Carden will forever live in my mind. Forever. Right here. This is where they live. This is their home. Ninth House, same thing. I read it for the first time in 2021. I have reread it 2 more times past that. Obsessed with it. Like, Alex Stern is my queen. We both have snake tattoos. I'm obsessed with her. It's a romantic dark academia fantasy where a lost heiress must infiltrate an arcane society and live with a vampire she suspects killed her family and kidnapped her sister. On September 17th, we have A Dark and Drowning Tide coming out by Allison Saft. I want to love Allison Saft. I really do. This will be my second chance for her. I tried A Far Wilder Magic. I liked the characters. I liked the setting of the story. That book, the pacing was just a little bit off for me. I live, laugh, and love for a folkloric tale, and that's what Allison Saft gives us. And so I'm hoping that this will be her redemption for me personally. To me, A Dark and Drowning Tide is giving similar vibes to A Study in Drowning by Ava Reid. And so I'm here for it. It has academic rivals. It's a sapphic fantasy romance. Our main character's name is Lorelai, which that is such a win in my book because I'm a Gilmore Girls obsessed girly. Lorelai is a folklorist with a quick temper and an even quicker wit. She's on an expedition with 6 eccentric nobles in search of a fabled spring. The magical spring promises untold power, which the king wants to harness to secure his reign of the embattled country of Brunestad. A murder takes place of Lorelai's mentor, and she has to team up with her longtime academic rival, Sylvia von Wolf, who is insufferably gallant and maddeningly beautiful. Now in charge of the expedition, Lorelai must find the spring before the murderer strikes again and a coup begins in earnest. But there's other dangers lurking in the forests that rearrange themselves at night, rivers with slumbering dragons waiting beneath the water, and shape-shifting beasts out for blood. Now, only because we just mentioned Gilmore Girls, because we mentioned a character named Lorelai, we have also on September 17th The Third Gilmore Girl, a memoir by Kelly Bishop coming out. I'm not a super nonfiction girly. I'm not a super memoir girly, but there are people, actors mostly, that I just love, love, love them with my whole entire heart. Like the impact that they've had on my life from the roles that they've played is incredible. Kelly Bishop is one of them. I am such a massive fan of Gilmore Girls, really, really and truly. That's why we're creating an Animal Crossing / Gilmore Girls themed island on Twitch recently. Literally love it so much. I think she's a beautiful, wonderful actress, and I just want to hear her perspective. I just want to hear about her life. I want to hear what she has to tell us. She wrote a book. I'm gonna read it. Then on September 3rd, sorry, these are not in chronological order in any way, shape, or form. I have like a list in front of me that I'm working with, and I'm just going in the order of the list. We have Us in Ruins by Rachel Moore coming out on September 3rd. This is the author that wrote Library of Shadows. She is a YA author, and she just writes the cutest, like the absolute cutest romances ever. If you're a fan of YA and you like cute, feel-good, heartwarming stories that are really, really atmospheric, I think you will love Rachel Moore. First of all, also read Library of Shadows, but let's talk about Us in Ruins. It's such a creative premise. Also, she has been so much fun to follow on Instagram because she's like all over her own PR, and the reels and posts that she makes about this book have been wonderful. Margot is kind of an archaeological girly. She is going to Pompeii. She has a mission to reassemble this ancient cursed vase that was broken. It's the mythical vase of Venus. It hasn't been seen since 1932, but Margot Rhodes is determined to change that. Drawn by the vase's supposed magical properties, she embarks on her school's archaeological trip to Pompeii. It's her first time holding a shovel, but she's got something no one else does: a lost teenage explorer, Van Keen's journal. Van Keen is a boy who went missing a long, long time ago. He went missing in 1932 to be exact. So she has his notes. She's kind of following along with him. She feels like she has a partner in crime on her little expedition. Come to find out, she's shocked when her search leads her to a statue that looks exactly like Vaughn, and then the statue comes to life. It's so freaking cute. Like, I cannot wait to see if they put this vase back together. I also can't wait to see how they fall in love with each other. She's gonna fall in love with a boy who has been missing / dead for 100 years, and she's gonna fall in love with the statue boy, and I can't wait to read about it. In Library of Shadows, our main character fell in love with also a boy who died in like the 1930s, and he was a ghost in a library. So I love it here. Next up, we have a lit fic by an author I fell in love with reading Cleopatra and Frankenstein. I think a lot of us read this book and raved about this book. Coco Mellers has a new book coming out called Blue Sisters. It comes out September 3rd. I do think that this book was pushed back for a release date because I originally had it scheduled to come out in June. Blue Sisters, we follow 3 estranged siblings. They return to their family home in New York after their 4th sister has passed away. This story talks about and deals with grief. It talks about identity. It talks about the complexities of family. If you read Cleopatra and Frankenstein, you will understand and know that Coco Mellers is incredible at writing very, very complex characters, but also very, very complex relationships. Like slightly toxic, but also you understand why they're together and you're rooting for both of them. Neither person is like a clear enemy in the situation. Like, they're just such gray areas. Like, she excels at writing gray areas in interpersonal relationships. So I cannot wait to see what she has in store for us with Blue Sisters. It will leave you feeling like a Sally Rooney book. Academy for Liars. Alexis Henderson is also gracing us with another book. I read Year of the Witching, I think it's called, by her a couple years ago. Absolutely freaking loved it. It was so creepy, so scary. Read that. That's a great one for fall as well. This is a mix of new release books, but then also if I've read any books by these authors, I'm just absolutely plugging them as well. We have An Academy for Liars. This one comes out on September 17th as well. That is a big day in publishing, apparently. Our main character is Lennon Carter. Her life is falling apart and she gets an unexpected phone call. This is a phone call to invite her to Drayton College, which is a school of magic hidden in a secret pocket of Savannah. Our main character has a devastating and unsettling power, but we're not told what it is. She's captivated by her studies. She's also having a really great time with her absolutely brilliant classmates. Even more captivating is her charismatic advisor, Dante, who both intimidates and enthralls her. As Lennon continues in her studies, her control grows and she starts to uncover more about the secret world that she has entered into, including the disquieting history of Drayton College and the way her mentor's tragic and violent past intertwines with it. She is increasingly disturbed by what she learns, for it seems that the ultimate test is to embrace absolute power without succumbing to corruption, and it's all a test. She's terrified she's going to fail. Moving on to October, there's only a couple that I have for October. The few that I need to shout out right now, we have a new book coming out by Sabaa Tahir, and if y'all know me, you know that Sabaa Tahir is my freaking queen. She is devastating with what she puts her characters through, and I love an author who's going to be mean to her readers and mean to her characters and just put us through the ringer. And so we have a book that's called Air. I don't know anything about this book besides it's written by Sabaa Tahir and that I'm gonna read it, but it is a YA fantasy book. It's also a duology, which is crazy. Last time we got a quartet from her, and now we're just getting a duology, and I don't know that that will be enough for me. We're following 3 characters in this one. We have an orphan, an outcast, and a prince. If you're a character-driven reader, you will love Sabaa Tahir. Even just reading through this synopsis, she's just talking about her characters. Like, her characters are the ones that drive the story forward. She's literally just talking about the backstories of her 3 main characters that she's writing from. Sabaa Tahir masterfully interweaves the lives of 3 young people as they grapple with the burdens of power, the treachery of love, and the devastating consequences of unchecked greed. Get ready for a dark and breathless journey that will captivate readers and that may cost these young people their lives and their hearts, literally. No character is safe in Sabaa Tahir's books. Also in October, we have Strange Beasts coming out. This is by Susan J. Morris. Also, this cover is so incredibly similar to Immortal Dark. I'm gonna pop them side by side. They're very, very similar. This is a gothic historical fantasy / part puzzle box mystery. The worlds of Dracula and Sherlock Holmes collide in a thrilling exploration of feminine power. I think you understand what got me with this one. We are in Paris with Samantha Harker, a daughter of Dracula's killer. She works as a researcher for the Royal Society of the Study of Abnormal Phenomena, but no one realizes how abnormal she is. She is a channel into the minds of monsters, a power that could help her solve the gruesome deaths plaguing turn-of-the-century Paris. Sam is assigned to a case with Dr. Helena Moriarty, the daughter of a criminal mastermind and famed nemesis of Sherlock Holmes, and a notorious detective who no one wants to work with on account of her previous partner's mysterious murders. Their investigation sweeps them into a race to stop a beast from its killing rampage, and Hel and Sam are pitted against men, monsters, and even each other. Yes, please. With that, friends, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any anticipated releases August through October that you are super, super excited about, please leave them in the comments down below. September is gonna be a big book buying month for me. I feel like September and October typically are, but let's just live our most atmospheric, autumnal, mood reading dreams and share all of our book recommendations with each other. I will catch you in the comments. I will see you in my next one. Toodles, friends.